look at it. So like M said, you be messing up, and like I said, this is live, but on the YouTube, I'm cutting that part out. So. Can't juxtapose, and Miss AK85 for tuning in. Thank you guys. We're about to get started right now. This is Talented Tuesdays, and I'm your host, Kai Speaks, aka Mr. 215 to 305. Like I said, we have our lovely guest for tonight, live with M's on the show, who's going to tell us a little bit about what she does. But before we get into anything, just introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and what does being a creative mean to you?
Okay, my name is Emily, but most people call me Ems. I was born in North Miami Beach, Florida, and I was raised in Broward County, Florida, but I currently live in North Miami again. I just love my roots. And being a creative, what does being a creative mean to me? It means a lot of different things. I mean, if you have an imagination and if you have ambitions, you're going to do whatever you have to do to make those things. I don't know. That's a tough question.
No, it's a different answer for everybody.
Yeah.
For being a creative to you will be something totally different than being a creative for someone who does, let's say, make jewelry. You feel me? So it's just different. It's not a trick question. Just what's your perception?
What's my Okay. So creatively, I am a writer. I'm a talker, motivational speaker, I guess you could say. I'm a dancer. I can sing, not really, but I can harmonize and melodize, and yeah, that's just what I do creatively.
Okay. So, y'all, this is of Talented Tuesdays first live with M. She's one of the first people, or the first person, to be into the industry of broadcast journalism and mass communications.
Yes.
So I'm definitely excited to have this conversation with her because this will be the first. So again, just tell us a little bit about how you got into communications.
Well, growing up, I've always just been a talkative person, and I just love to talk, always. I'm always talking. But pretty much when I was in preschool, we had our preschool graduation, and I guess all the teachers, the faculty and staff of the preschool that I was going to, they really saw that I was outgoing and stuff, and they wanted me to host our our preschool graduation. And at such a young age, I'm in preschool, I didn't realize that this was actually something that I was really good at and something that I would pursue now as a career. But that's pretty much how it started. Throughout school, going to school and stuff, I always thought that I was going to be in the medical field. I thought I was going to be a gynecologist, go to school for gynecology and just do that. But, I realized that, first of all, I'm not good at math. So that was, I didn't want to stress myself out doing something that is going to, be guaranteed money. I would rather, put all my energy into something that I'm actually passionate about doing and something that I'm actually good at. After I graduated high school, I decided that, when I go to college, I'm gonna major in mass communications.
Okay. So I guess, did you so you said right after high school going into college. So I was about to say, you didn't do any internship while in college where you decided, this gynecology stuff ain't for me?
Well, I was in an allied health class my junior and senior year of high school, and I just wasn't progressing in the class. I wasn't interested in what we were learning, so I just decided that I can't continue to do this. It just wasn't fun for me, so I decided that that I wasn't going to do that. And I knew I wanted to be a broadcast journalist. I knew I wanted to talk. I knew I wanted to be on TV and, you know, be a news anchor and stuff like that. So that's when I was like, fuck all my other shit.
Hey, I could definitely attest to that. And I'm sure the rest of you guys, that's definitely relatable to a lot of you all because, you know, I went to school for accounting originally. And then after like my junior year, like the summer of my junior year, I went to an internship where I went to an accounting firm, did all the accounting stuff. And, you know, I completed my internship, but at the end of it, I was just like, what I got out of it was that this is not really what I want to do. So then that led to me, you know, switching majors and doing all the other stuff. Still graduated on time. But I just say that to say this, to all you guys watching, it's never too late. Even if you did go into a field that you're still not interested in, it's still never too late to, you know, to find your passion and to get into that and switch those gears. Because, you know, like I thought it was going to be too late for me where I wasn't going to graduate on time. Like I might have to take another year. But I crunched everything together, made it work, and look at us. So now we're doing other things, and I'm definitely happy with the path that I'm taking now. So tell us, for those who are watching and may not know exactly what it is, tell us what broadcast journalism is.
What broadcast journalism is pretty much you'll get a story or you'll have a topic. And what my job is to bring the topic to the masses, like to express that topic to the masses. So currently, like I'm mostly working with like underground South Florida artists. So what I'll do is I'll go to different like shows, different like underground rap shows, and I'll interview different artists, or I'll even schedule different interviews for artists like in the studio, whether it's in my house or whatever. Like I'll schedule interviews with them, and then we'll just talk about, you know, their background, how they got into the music industry and stuff like that. Even but not only just artists, like I'll interview photographers, I'll interview, you know, different people in the creative industry. So I'll just interview them, and then I'm pretty much giving them a platform to, you know, tell people who they are and, you know, what they do. And that's pretty much my job as a broadcast journalist, is to tell the masses who this person is or what this topic is, and, you know, shed light on that.
Now, with broadcast journalism being so broad, how did you find that focus? Like, how did you find what you wanted to focus on? Like, it was artists or the creatives, and as opposed to, you know, getting into like news broadcasting and other areas like that?
Okay, well, personally, I love music. So, you know, I love listening to music, and I also remember being in high school, like I went through a phase where all I wanted to talk about was music. Like, you know, the next rapper's album, EP, you know, whatever that dropped on DatPiff or anything like that. Like, that's all that I wanted to talk about. So I decided, and plus a lot of people around me were artists, were rappers, were musicians and stuff like that. So I just figured, why not help my friends out, you know? And since I love to talk and I can, you know, do this for them and help them with that, why not, you know, give them that platform? And so that's pretty much how I got into, you know, dealing with artists and stuff like that.
Now, getting started for you, was it hard? What types of things did you need to getting started with your interviewing? So what do you call it? You call it Live with M's?
Yeah, well, yeah, Live with M's, because, you know, the live aspect, you know, we're here, we're live on Instagram, we're live, you know, just like that. So I figured, why not, you know, just play it like that. But yeah, it's called Live with M's for right now, because I'm not, everything is still like, you know,
in the works.
Okay. Absolutely. So
what are all the things that you needed to get started? So are you using just a phone? I see you have a microphone. So like, what's some of the equipment that you needed? What are some of the planning that you needed to, when you first decided that this is what I want to do, I'm going to go after artists and I'm going to go after other creators, what do I need to do to go forward?
Okay, so, well, first, when I decided that this is what I wanted to do, I was in college, and I did a lot of, you know, while I was in the courtyard with friends, I would try to do like mock interviews just to prepare myself for when I do get ready to get on the camera and do that. And also, I currently have a YouTube channel where I was recording on my phone, like vlogs, like doing vlogs. And Yeah, I mean, all I had was my phone at the time when I started, and I would just record videos on there and edit them on iMovie and, post it on YouTube. But now I've gotten a little bit more equipment, so I don't have a camera. I'm still recording on my phone, but I'll record on my phone, and I have like different microphones that I'll use when I'm at interviews. I have a personal recorder that I use, but mostly I just use my phone. I utilize a lot of the programs that are on my phone to get things like this done.
And is there a lot of post-production work that you have to do, such as like editing the videos? Oh
my God, yes, and that is the reason why my content. I have a lot of content. I just don't have anything. Displayed. Like I haven't released any of the content that I have because of the editing aspect. Like I'm still a 21-year-old, girl trying to pay the bills. So it's hard to find people who will work with me to edit the videos for me because I don't have the time to, edit all of the material. And quite frankly, I really don't have the knowledge to, edit everything and to make it the way that I want it to be. So.
And that's hard to not have, to not be sure how to do something, but have such a precise or defined way that you want things.
Yes.
It's just like, it's hard to like try to explain that to other people and they can't consume what it is that you're trying to produce.
Exactly.
So it's like you have to keep reiterating it to them. So real quick, I just want to take a quick pause for everybody I see tuning in, and I see shout out your favorite Alpha, Jonathan McLean, and others. This is a good time to mention, the comment section is open. Feel free to drop comments, drop questions, ask anything that you feel like I'm missing, or anything that you just want to ask Emily, right?
Yes.
I can call you Emily. Anything you want to ask Emily and everything like that. So for me, trying to I wanted to record like spoken word, but it's hard to record yourself doing something and be the videographer and the editor. Yeah. So it's like to get certain angles, I'll try and ask people to, hold the camera and do this for me, but it will be so difficult to direct them to get the angle you want to, to zoom in when you want it to zoom in, to zoom out when you want to zoom out. So I get your frustration with the whole video editing. So have you reached out to others, to help you with recording, to help you with the editing?
I mean, I have, but people don't listen. So
just elaborate a little bit more on that.
Like, I mean, I'll have someone, try to edit something for me, or I'll have, okay, to sum it all up, I'm a Virgo. I'm very I do everything, I want everything to be perfect. I want everything to be my way, and I'm very controlling in that aspect. So it's really, honestly, it's really hard for me to let go of my work and give it to someone, or trust someone enough to record something for me and hope that they're doing it right. I feel like most of the time I'm working with amateurs, for lack of better words. So no offense to anyone, but I'm working with amateurs who don't really know what they're doing. Same thing with me. I'm an amateur myself. I don't really know what I'm doing, so it's really, really hard to get the work that I want.
I get exactly what you're saying. So we were talking a little bit earlier before the show started. You mentioned that you also do reporting, courtroom reporting.
Yes.
So what has that experience been like, and how have you how did you get into that gig?
Okay, my pastor, he called me out of nowhere. He's like, hey, at the time I was working a regular office job, and doing secretary work, getting 10 an hour, thinking, this is where I'm at, this is good. And then, he calls me and he's like, hey, how much are you making at your job right now? And I was like, I told him. And then he was like, why don't you quit that job right now and come work for this court reporting firm? And, he was like, I think you'll be perfect for this. And, I checked it out. I did the training, and it was definitely something that I knew I wanted to do, for sure, because not only was the pay good, but it was a great experience. Being a court reporter, you're meeting different state attorneys here in South Florida. You're meeting different judges. You're meeting all different kinds of people. So it was a great networking opportunity. Number one, I'm always down for networking. Like I'm always trying to, you know, because your net worth equals your network. So like,
are you into certain types of court reporting? Because you know, like civil. I don't know the legal terms for the other types of, but basically.
Okay, so when I first started court reporting, I was doing more civil work, but then the company that I'm contracted to, they wanted me to do more criminal work at the criminal courthouse in Miami. And that experience was really intense because, you know, I was sitting in a courtroom with the judge and her staff, and I'm a part of her staff as well. I'm the judge's court reporter. So I'm sitting there and I'm listening to the proceedings, and you get different, like at the time, I was with a felony judge. So there's people coming in, there's different cases coming in with crazy charges, murder, attempted murder, like all kind of stuff. So I'm sitting here, I'm in the courtroom, and I'm listening to all of these things going on. I'm just like, oh my God, like, this is so intense.
So I'm guessing your favorite out of the two was the criminal, for the fact that it's so entertaining.
Absolutely. The criminal, I mean, civil was cool, but it's not as like dramatic. I mean, and I love, this is so weird to say, I love dramas. Like I love watching drama. So I felt like every day when I came to work, I was in a soap opera or something. Like I stopped watching TV because I'm like, there's so much going on. There's so much going on like with my work that like, I don't even need to watch TV. Like I feel like I know everybody in Miami's business. Like it's just really crazy, but I really enjoy criminal.
And so so what exactly is your job as a courtroom reporter? Do I know you have to listen closely because you have to report accurately. So do you literally just sit in the area of the room, stand or whatever, and then listen and then report at the end? How does that go?
So pretty much I'll come about 30 to 15 minutes earlier before, the judge takes the bench or before the deposition starts because, that's what I do. I host depositions. But I'll come and set up. I have my own equipment. So I'll come and I'll set up my laptop. I'm digital, so I'm not on a stenographer like how some people might think. That's digital is the newer way.
So a stenographer is the person who's like writing short notes of what's going on.
There's like a little machine, a stenograph, and that's what they're doing. They usually have like a little computer next to them that will have the words spelled out for them. But it's like a little machine with shortcut hotkeys and stuff, so that way they don't have to type out everything verbatim. Right. But whereas me, I'm digital, I'm working on a laptop, I'm typing everything verbatim. So whenever, like if I had my laptop out right now and we were in a courtroom proceeding, I would be typing everything that I'm saying right now, and every time you speak, I would switch, like I would press a key to switch the speaker, and then I would type what you're saying. So that's pretty much what I do. Like I just make sure that I'm switching on time to whoever's speaking and then typing out what they're saying.
I thought you were behind the camera, like waiting to. So you're typing. Do you get like writer's cramps in your wrist, writer's block?
Not really. I mean, I actually was just in a car accident where I like twisted my my wrist, and that kind of made typing a little bit more difficult. But I mean, I feel like it's fine. I mean,
so you must type pretty fast. Then.
Yeah, I type a little fast.
Now, is that what you? Because me, I thought it was going to be something completely different. So for you going into the gig, did you think it was going to be different than what it turned out to be? No,
it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Me typing, because when my pastor who got me the job, when he told me about it, he was like, oh yeah, you're just going to be typing and stuff. So when he told me that, I prepared myself to type. Like, I had in my mindset, I'm going to be typing. So get used to it and, enjoy it.
Okay. And so have you taken courses to, expedite how fast you can type, or like have you always been a very typer?
I took a typing test before like I went to this interview, and at the time I was typing like 60-70 words a minute, and that's good, but it's not great for this industry. Like you want to type, yeah. But pretty much I got better at typing. The more jobs that I did, like the more, work that I was doing, the better I got, the faster I was able to type.
So how do you, what is the process like for when you reach out to an artist or when you want to interview somebody? What is that process like to the thought to the end of you actually interviewing that person?
Well, since I am just starting out with everything, I like to interview artists that I personally like. Okay. So if I come across an artist on my feed and I really like their music, I will reach out to them and be like, hey, I do this, and I do interviews, and I would love to, interview you as an artist, and then we go from there. And I'll of course, do more research on the artist and see what other things that they dabble into. But that's pretty much like the process which I go through. Now, I do get artists who hit me up and want me to interview them, and I do get different opportunities like that. Like I've had people hit me up to do documentaries for them, and different stuff like that, just to like host the interview portion of their whatever they're doing, whatever they're recording. They'll hit me up to do stuff like that.
Now, have you ever is there some kind of bias in it? Obviously, if you're using artists that you know and like personally, but when you have the people who reach out to you, is there some kind of bias? Like, do you listen to their music first and it's like, I ain't really feeling this music, I don't really know? Or is it kind of like, hey, I'm not really feeling the music, but I'm still going to interview this person?
It really just depends on how serious they are, because I can't, if they're really serious and they're persistent, and they're like, hey, I really want to do this, then I'll take the time out to do it, because really, time is money and I can't waste my time.
Right, yeah. You need somebody that's gonna be serious.
Exactly. So, to all the people that have hit me up and, have gotten ignored, I'm sorry. It's because I'm very busy, and if you're really serious about getting interviewed, be persistent with me. Like, let me know that this is something that you want to do, so that way I can go ahead and book studio time and get my equipment together and get my crew together, so that way we can get the interview going. It's a process. So I don't want people to think that I'm just waking up and being like, okay, I'm gonna interview you today. No. Like, I have to do my research. I have to do, there's a lot behind the scenes of, doing interviews and stuff like that.
And I understand that so well, but a lot of people don't know what goes on behind the scenes. So, just elaborate a little further on some of the things that go on behind the scenes, some of the obstacles you may face while trying to get set up or while trying to get prepared for another interview or whatever you're getting prepared for at that moment.
Well, so if an artist hits me up or an artist contacts me and they're like, hey, I want to get an interview, and I like them, or I want to interview someone, I do my research, on this person. Like, I get all of their social media, and I don't stalk them, but I look through and, see what's interesting enough. And then that's when I'll write down my questions that I'm going to ask them. But most of the time, I'm impromptu when it comes to, asking questions. I just go with the flow. And also, if you're serious about an interview, I gotta call a photographer, I gotta call a videographer, so that way they can come to the studio. I gotta call up my studio guy and see if he's available, so that way I can do the interview, or I have to just find a place. I've actually done interviews by my pool and by my underneath a tree, in any zen kind of environment. So it takes a lot of planning,
definitely.
Stuff like that when it comes to doing interviews. I mean, I have done on the spot interviews on my phone, at events. I'll just, if an artist comes up to me and they're like, hey, let's get an interview real quick, I'll, take out my phone and get on my voice memos, and then I'll do an interview right there. But I want to be more professional, when it comes to, because this is like my baby. So,
right, yeah. So what are some of the things that go wrong in that process behind the scenes?
Yeah, mics will break, stuff like that. People will be late. I'll get choked up, asking a question and lose my train of thought. And it's, it can be very nerve-wracking sometimes. I remember I was doing interviews for Eli Hawkins' Glock 9 show, and I was so nervous, like, and it's weird because, like, you know, I've been doing this, like, I've been doing interviews and stuff, but I was like so nervous to interview like these different artists. It was, I don't know, I guess I maybe felt a little intimidated, you know, personal issues.
Might have been clouded in the head.
Yeah, you know, and things like that happen, and you know, if I'm not at my best, then, you know, I feel like my work is not going to be, you know, 100, and I want it to be. So, but yeah, I mean, those are some of the things that can go wrong.
And that's why I started to get into doing things a little bit more impromptu, because with Talented Tuesdays, when I first got started with Talented Tuesdays, like I said, I had my notepad that I wrote all the questions in. I even wrote down my intro, like how I was going to introduce myself in the show. Just for Talented Tuesdays to start, it's 8 o'clock, and I didn't want, because I know better than to read from the notepad as I'm like, so I wanted to memorize it, and I did not memorize it. I basically choked and just had to like freeball the introduction and everything like that. So that's when I started to do things more impromptu. Plus, because when you're trying to ask questions, it turns the conversation into an interview. Yeah. And depending on what kind of field you want to go, you may not want it to be an interview, because, you know, that's how you get the short answer responses from people
who are
then
like,
you left there like, well, I wasn't expecting you to answer that question so fast. I only have 10 questions. Now the show's only 10 minutes long. So yeah, that's why I started to do things more impromptu. So what has been something that totally went left field for you, totally unexpected? What was it, and then how did you bounce back from it to keep the show going?
Well, let me see.
And that is a question you got really think on.
Something that went left field. I mean, only thing I can really remember is me doing a show one time, and the videographer, her camera, like her memory was full. I'm just like, I got like, I'm thinking like, I got like 5 more artists to interview, like, and then also like my PR, the personal recorder that I was recording on, it got wet, and I was like, what is going on? Like, what is going on? Like, the devil is busy. Like, you don't want me to be great. Like, so that's something that went left field, and I really just had to, you know, figure out what I was going to do. And then from there, I just did it the old school way, got my phone and got the voice memos, and we just went from there and just did audio interviews instead of doing the whole shebang. But that's why it's always good to, you know, be prepared, you know, for stuff
early,
like come early, and also to have backup people, you know, like thankfully there was other photographers and videographers at the venue that could help me out, and, you know, that liked what I was doing and, you know, wanted to be a part of it. So that's always good. Because
that's the low memory happened to me one time during Talented Tuesdays. Like the show, I kept hearing my camera beep, like as if it wasn't recording anymore. And I keep hitting record, and it would beep like as soon as I sat down. And I realized I have 0 memory left. But luckily for me, I guess this was different for her, your original videographer, because I had a whole bunch of stuff that I could just delete off. So I just deleted a bunch of stuff, cleared the memory, and then the show went on. But, you know, that can be pressing, especially if you're here and you don't want to keep walking over there to do stuff. And, you know, so I get that. And then when you said PR, what is that? So it's a personal recorder? Yeah, it's like a little, you know, little audio recorder, like recording device. Oh, they kind of old fashioned.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying yours is old fashioned.
No, it is. It's like the old school. Yeah, it's actually a PR that I use when I do my court reporting as well. Because you know, with the court reporting, I'm recording audio and I'm typing notes.
Okay. 'Cause I was about to say that sounds like one of those things my dad used to have back in the day, like a little thing that you hit start, and just talking to it. Exactly. But yeah, now they have the voice memos, so it's like it pretty much serves the same purpose. So we do have a question from the audience, and that is, do you feel like reporting will or is helping your broadcasting career take off? It definitely is, and I really like this question. Thank you so much for asking. Who was that asked? Lonnie Boo. Lonnie Boo, thank you so much for asking me that question. I definitely do feel like it is helping my career. A lot of the people that I work with in the court reporting industry, they started off as journalists. So, or
or like a lot of the attorneys that I work with started off as journalists. The judge that I was just working for, she was a journalist, like working for Telemundo and stuff like that. So, you know, like that's a good, you know, connect to have, you know.
Yeah,
always, you know, a judge, you know, she was a journalist. So I definitely feel like, you know, I can reach out to her if I ever need, you know, any advice, or if I ever need you know, recommendations or anything like that. Like I can talk to a lot of different attorneys who I know, you know, worked for CNN or, you know, reported for CNN and stuff like that before. I can definitely hit them up and use them as a resource to further my career as a journalist. So
okay, now that was a great answer to a great question.
Yes,
thank you again, Lonnie Boo, for that question. So give some advice for someone who is young. I guess let's just say someone in high school that really wants to get started in broadcast, or even it doesn't have to just be geared towards high schools, but you know, anybody who is trying to get started in the broadcast journalism or the mass communications. What's some advice for you, especially if they originally wanted to do something else and now they're trying to switch gears?
Okay, well, what I suggest you do is take a public speaking class and see how you are in front of an audience and see how you can, you know, speak to people under pressure. I feel like that was what really like made me want to do it even more, because that was one of the first classes that I took coming into college was public speaking. Because I'm gonna stand in front of people and talk. I'm gonna interview people and talk, and you know. So if you want to get into the communications field, take a public speaking class. And also, even if you don't want to be in the communications industry and you're just like a regular person doing accounting or doing whatever, take a public speaking class. Like that public speaking, communications, like speaking to people, is the key to elevating yourself. So if you can communicate with someone properly, like it's only gonna benefit you. So.
And I'll even piggyback off of that. If you don't know where to look for public speaking classes, or just say it's not in your budget and you just can't afford to pay for a class right now, there are other ways to get into it where you can, you know, just organizations have Toastmaster programs where you can literally read anything in front of a crowd, whether it be a poem, whether it be a memoir of yours, or whether it be a short story. Just do those, because those programs help you, you know, get comfortable with speaking in front of people, or even just go to an open mic.
Yes.
Even if you don't do poetry, just, you know, pretend like you got a little poem, go up there and read a short story.
Or if you're a comedian, go up there, tell some of your jokes, you know, and get a reaction out of people. See how you are in front of people. That's what's really going to help you develop yourself.
Definitely. So I will now, as we're getting ready to close off the show, just plug yourself in, and while you're plugging yourself in, guys, this is your chance to ask any last minute questions that you may have. I have a couple more questions for M, so you know you have a little bit of time, but don't wait till the last minute, okay? Cool. Okay,
so some of the things that I do, I have a SoundCloud also called Live with Ems, same thing, LIVEWEMS on I have a SoundCloud where I do post some of my interviews that I do. I have a YouTube channel. Also, you can find that at Live with Ems. And also, you can find me on social media, Live with Ems on Instagram, Live with Ems on Twitter. Snapchat is a little different. It's going to be MEB Thugging. You know, it's a little old school, you know, from high school days. And if you guys want to meet me in person, I'm hosting events every Wednesday at Hollywood Live. That's 2333 Hollywood Boulevard. If you guys are free, ladies drink free. Ladies drink free all night. Ladies are free all night. Guys are 10 until 12 o'clock. So if you guys don't have anything to do tomorrow night, please feel free to stop by and catch me live in action hosting an event. And yeah, I mean, that's what I'm going to be. That's where I'm going to be at if you guys want to.
And you said that's every Wednesday? That's
going to be every Wednesday,
okay,
yes.
Cool. So now, Em, you're also the epitome of what it means to be multifaceted. So like, just real quick, tell us the other things that you do besides the broadcast journalism and the hosting.
Okay, so besides journalism and hosting, I'm also a dancer. I can sing, I can act. I go to different casting calls. I've been in different music videos as a dancer, and I do a lot of different things different creative things outside of journalism that will potentially elevate me as a journalist. And, so yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, cool. And seeing no extra questions, I'm going to ask my last two questions. Where do you see yourself progressing within the next 5 to 10 years?
Within the next 5 years, I definitely see myself working for a major radio show, major production. Like, I definitely see myself working for either E! News, MTV, Revolt TV. So if any of you guys are watching this, like, please, Charlamagne, if you're watching this, come holla at me, because we could work and I can help you, you can help me. But yeah, I just see myself working for major production companies, CNN, for sure. Like, that's the goal. So that's the goal. By the end of this year, I'm trying to get signed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. And when I put this up on YouTube and I'm making my, my ads for people to go watch the YouTube, I'm gonna make sure this part was the ad, so we can tag Charlamagne in it and everything like that. So, okay, my last question for you is, I ask this question every week, and that's the red pill or the blue pill. Now, you take the red pill, you go forward 10 years, but you know everything. Oh no, you go forward 10 years and you have $5 million liquid in your bank account. Now you take the blue pill, you go backwards 10 years, but you know everything that you know now. Which pill are you taking?
Okay, which are the colors again?
So red pill, go forward, and you got forward 10 years and $5 million liquid in your bank account. You take the blue pill, you go backwards 10 years, and you know everything that you know now.
I would take the blue pill, just so that way I can, prevent myself from making some of the mistakes that I've made. And, just to, who doesn't want to be young again, like 10 years younger.
It's funny because I had a guest, shout out Mark May, he said the complete opposite. So his was the red pill, and he said he didn't want to go back because, he felt like some mistakes made him. And he was like, hey, 10 years, I'm only going to be 36 and I'll be a millionaire. Hey, that's not bad. So, I mean, so, people bring different perspectives and everything like that. So I just wanted to share that because it's just literally, it was the complete opposite. So I thought that was funny. Yeah. But like I said, people have their own perspectives, and it's so interesting to see the different perspectives that people bring. Like, some people say go back because, going back is really going forward. You get to bring so many people up and everything, and help so many different people at the same time. So, guys, I appreciate you all for tuning in to Talented Tuesdays. We have Talented Tuesdays every Tuesday live at 8 p.m. from TGK_Foundation. Again, Ems, it's been great having you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you for doing this and, getting on and talking to us about your talent and everything like that. So it's been lovely. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and asking your questions, dropping comments. By the way, my man Mark May just joined in and said he heard you say that you sing and dance. So he'll be trying to reach out to you and everything.
Yes, hit me up. My DMs are open. I'm ready to work. I'm ready to work. So if you guys want to work, hit me up. I promise you will not regret it.
That's what we need nowadays. People who are ready to work. A lot of people want to do all these things, fast forward time and be here, but they forget about the work that it takes to get there. So that's one thing. So never stay stagnant, always moving forward. We good. But again, guys, I appreciate it. I keep saying it. I'm your host, Kai Speaks, aka Mr. 215 to 305, and we have Live with M's in the building. Feel free to tune in next Tuesday.